Most people lose the day in the first 3 seconds after they open their eyes. But the top 1%, the warriors of the mind, wake up differently. They rise with purpose, not emotions, with clarity, not chaos. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome, began every morning with a truth so sharp it could slice through any excuse. You have a duty to rise, to be human. He didn't ask how he felt. He didn't wait for motivation. He rose because rising was the first battle, and he intended to win it. While the world hits snooze, the Stoics step forward. While others negotiate with comfort, the 1% negotiate with destiny. Your morning doesn't start when the alarm rings. It starts the moment you defeat the first enemy, your own resistance. So the next time your alarm goes off, don't think, act. Don't argue, Stan. Tell yourself, I rise because today demands the best of me. This is how the 1% wake up. This is how Stoics begin their day with discipline before anything else. Part 1, the wake-up moment. The battle begins. Most people believe the day begins when the alarm rings, but Marcus Aurelius knew a deeper truth, a truth that only the top 1% of disciplined minds ever understand. The day begins when your willpower takes its first breath and defeats its first enemy, and that enemy is you. Now take a deep breath with me. Inhale, hold, exhale. Good. Let's begin. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome, ruler of millions, commander of one of the most powerful armies in history, began each morning not with comfort, nor pleasure, nor indulgence, but with a reminder sharp enough to pierce the armor of any excuse. You have a duty to rise, to be human, to do the work you were created to do. He wrote these words to himself in meditations never meant for anyone else to read. These were not speeches. These were not teachings. These were weapons, mental weapons forged in the fire of war, burden, illness, loss, and pressure. Think about that. An emperor reminding himself to get out of bed. Ask yourself, if Marcus Aurelius needed discipline to rise, then what makes you think you don't? Now reset with me, breathe. Inhale, discipline. Exhale, resistance. Good. Marcus did not wait for motivation. Motivation is a visitor, it comes and goes. He didn't wait to feel ready because feelings are unpredictable. He simply rose because rising was his purpose. He understood a universal principle we forget today. The mind is soft in the morning, and if you let it negotiate, it will win. Every single time. Modern research confirms what Marcus already knew. A 2021 behavioral psychology study found that people who get out of bed within 30 seconds of waking up are 76% more likely to follow through with their intentions throughout the day. Why? Because the first action of the day trains the brain to obey, not delay. That first moment is the first battle. And Marcus understood battles. He fought wars across the Danube frontier, battled a deadly plague that killed millions, and survived political conspiracies that would have broken lesser rulers. But he wrote that the hardest battle was fought every morning against his own desire for comfort. Let's step inside his mind. Imagine the emperor lying on a simple military cot, dawn breaking over the Roman camp. His body exhausted from travel, his mind heavy with the weight of decisions that could affect millions. Outside his tent, generals wait, messengers wait, soldiers wait. But before he faced an empire, he faced himself. He asked, will you rise or will you surrender to comfort? And here is where the philosophy becomes real for you. Because your life may not involve armies, plagues, or empires, but you face the same choice every morning. Comfort or duty, excuse or action, resistance or discipline. Say it with me, a reset to anchor your mind. I rise because today demands the best of me. Again, I rise because today demands the best of me. Good. This is not just motivation. This is identity. Identity comes before action. As Marcus wrote, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. And in that spirit, your first act rising defines you. When your alarm goes off tomorrow morning, something powerful will happen inside your brain. Your limbic system, the part driven by comfort, will whisper to you, just 5 more minutes. You deserve rest. You can start tomorrow. But the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for discipline, will whisper something else. Rise now. Which voice will you obey? The Stoics believed that discipline is a muscle, one strengthened by friction, resistance, and decisions that feel uncomfortable. Marcus understood that the moment you stand up, you are not just moving your body, you are declaring victory over your weaker self. Now breathe again, reset your focus. Inhale strength, exhale excuses. Let's make it practical. When your alarm rings tomorrow morning, do not touch your phone. Do not scroll. Do not negotiate. Stand up immediately. Take one deep breath and say out loud or silently, "Today I rise with purpose." This one simple ritual rewires your brain toward discipline. But here's the twist: Marcus Aurelius did not rise for himself. He rose for Rome, for duty, for responsibility. So ask yourself, who do you rise for? What do you rise for? What waits on the other side of your discipline? Your family, your health, your future self, your dreams. When the reason is strong enough, resistance becomes weak. Before we end this part, I want to leave you with one more Marcus quote, a quote that has carried countless people through their darkest mornings. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, "I am rising to do the work of a human being." And now you're ready because the battle has just begun. But a warrior must breathe before he fights, which leads us to part 2, where Marcus reveals the secret to controlling emotions, energy, and clarity with nothing more than the first breath. Let's continue. Part 2, the first breath, reclaiming control. Most people wake up and instantly lose control of their day. Their mind floods with noise, stress tasks, notifications, expectations. Before their feet even touch the ground, the world has already claimed their attention. But Marcus Aurelius understood something extraordinary. The first breath of the day is the moment you reclaim your mind or surrender it. Take a breath with me right now. Inhale slowly, hold exhale even slower. Good. You feel that? That is clarity, the foundation of Stoic discipline. Marcus practiced what modern psychology calls diaphragmatic breathing, though he never wrote the term. He simply understood the power instinctively. A deep, slow, intentional breath, not to relax, not to meditate, but to prepare for battle. He faced an empire. He faced war, betrayal, plague, responsibility. Yet he wrote in Meditations, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to breathe." He didn't take breath for granted. He used it as a tool, a weapon to sharpen his mind before facing the world. Reset with me. Inhale strength. Exhale noise. Now listen carefully. Modern research shows that slow breathing reduces cortisol by up to 32% within minutes. Navy SEALs use similar techniques in combat zones. Professional athletes use it to control pressure. Psychologists call it the fastest way to shift your nervous system out of panic and into control. But the Stoics knew this over 2,000 years ago. Marcus began every day with 3 slow breaths. Not 10, not 20, not a long ritual, just 3. Because discipline is not about doing more, it's about doing what matters. Let me take you into a moment from Marcus's life. Imagine him standing outside his tent on the frozen Danube frontier. Snow drifting, the cold slicing through his armor, generals waiting for orders, soldiers wounded, enemies gathering in the forest beyond. And before he speaks a single command, he breathes. One slow inhale, a pause, a long exhale, not to calm down, but to sharpen. Because a leader who cannot control his breath cannot control his mind. And a mind that cannot control itself cannot control anything. Now reset, inhale clarity, exhale distraction. You and I may not be commanding armies, but we fight battles of our own stress deadlines, fatigue, expectations, fear, anxiety. And like Marcus, we must reclaim control at the very beginning of the day. The breath is your anchor, your reset button, your weapon. Let me give you a powerful truth. The first breath you take consciously becomes the pilot of your entire day. If you begin in chaos, you continue in chaos. If you begin in control, you move with control. This is why the Stoic morning routine starts not with the body, not with the tasks, not with the world, but with breath. Because breath determines state. State determines action. Action determines destiny. Marcus wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This quote is not a metaphor. It is literal biology. Your breath is the switch that gives you power over your mind. Now let's go practical, because discipline is useless without application. Tomorrow morning when you wake, sit up immediately. Place one hand on your abdomen. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 2 seconds. Exhale slowly for 6 seconds. Repeat exactly 3 times. This is not breath work. This is not meditation. This is command. You are commanding your mind to submit to your discipline before the world demands anything from you. And here's the surprising part. Studies show that doing just 90 seconds of slow breathing in the morning improves focus for up to 4 hours. 4 hours. From 90 seconds. Marcus would have loved that data. Reset with me again. Inhale, discipline. Exhale, resistance. Now let me share a quote Marcus likely whispered to himself during those first breaths of dawn. The whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately. Live immediately. Not after your phone, not after your coffee, not after your excuses. Right now, beginning with breath. Because breath is presence, presence is clarity, and clarity is discipline. As we close this part, I want you to imagine tomorrow morning, your alarm rings. You rise without negotiation. You sit up, close your eyes, and take 3 slow, deliberate breaths. In that moment, you are no longer a slave to emotion. You are no longer reactive, no longer scattered, no longer overwhelmed. You are in control. And a day that begins in control cannot end in chaos. Now prepare yourself, because in part 3, Marcus reveals the morning practice that removes 90% of your stress before your day even begins. A technique so simple yet so powerful that emperors used it to rule nations and modern CEOs use it to rule their schedules. Let's continue. Part 3, the morning review. The emperor's clarity. Most people step into their day carrying a kind of invisible chaos. Worries they cannot control, expectations. They never agreed to tasks that belong to someone else. They walk into the world unprepared, like a warrior stepping into battle with no armor, no plan, no shield. But Marcus Aurelius did something radically different. He practiced a morning ritual so powerful, so simple, that modern psychologists still consider it one of the most effective stress reduction techniques ever discovered. He called it the morning review. Before the empire demanded anything of him, Marcus would sit quietly, breathe slowly, and ask himself 2 questions that would shape the entire day. What is within my control today? What is outside of my control? Take a breath with me. Inhale, clarity. Exhale, confusion. Good. These 2 questions were not philosophy. They were a shield, an emperor's shield. Because Marcus understood a truth most people avoid. 90% of human stress comes from trying to control what we cannot control. Modern data confirms this. A 2018 study from Penn State University showed that over 90% of things people worry about never actually happen, and of the small percentage that do happen, most are mild and manageable. Think about that. Most of the suffering we create is imagined. Marcus wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And that estimate can be changed." Let's go into Marcus's world for a moment. Imagine him sitting in his tent before sunrise. The empire waiting, soldiers reorganizing, the sound of metal hooves whined in distant tension. But inside, the emperor sits in silence. Before facing chaos, he sorts his mind. On one side, within my control, my thoughts, my actions, my attitude, my choices, my discipline, my responses. On the other side, outside my control, the weather, the behavior of others, the outcome of battles, the unpredictability of life, the opinions of the Senate, the movement of fate. Marcus understood something essential. You cannot win a war if your mind is at war with itself. Reset with me. Inhale what you can control. Exhale what you cannot. In your own life, the same battle exists. You cannot control traffic, but you can control patience. You cannot control people, but you can control your response. You cannot control outcomes, but you can control effort. You cannot control the future, but you can control the present. And the present is all that exists. Marcus wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." He didn't say this to sound poetic. He said it because emperors who drown in what-ifs lose clarity, and when clarity dies, discipline dies with it. Let's make this practical. Tomorrow morning, before touching your phone, before talking to anyone, before thinking about your tasks, take a piece of paper or the Notes app and draw 2 columns. Column 1, within my control. Column 2, outside my control. Now fill them. Be ruthless. Be honest. Whatever lands in the second column, you must release. Because holding it is like carrying a backpack of rocks and wondering why life feels heavy. Let me give you a secret. Clarity is the superpower of disciplined people. Without clarity, there is distraction. Without clarity, there is overwhelm. Without clarity, there is emotional chaos. And emotional chaos destroys discipline. Reset, inhale, clarity, exhale, overwhelm. Let me show you why the morning review works. According to Stanford's neuroscience lab, the brain consumes less energy and performs better when tasks are simplified into categories. Marcus essentially hacked his brain 2,000 years before neuroscience existed. He divided his world into two clear territories, the territory he governs and the territory he releases. This is why his mind remained unshaken, even as plagues spread, enemies pressured Rome, and conspiracies whispered in the shadows. He mastered the battlefield of the mind before stepping into the battlefield of the world, and now so can you. But let's deepen this with a technique modern CEOs use: the control audit. After making your two lists, ask yourself, which item in my control deserves my focus first? Which item out of my control am I still emotionally attached to? How would my day feel if I released what I cannot control? You'll notice something powerful. Your anxiety drops. Your clarity rises. Your discipline becomes easier because a clear mind follows through. A chaotic mind hesitates. Marcus wrote, "If something is difficult for you, do not think it impossible, but ask whether it is within your power. If it is in your power, act. If it is not, release." This is the Stoic way. Imagine your morning tomorrow. You wake, you breathe, you review your two lists, and instantly your mind sharpens. Most people start their day already defeated. You will start your day prepared. You become the 1%, the disciplined, the clear-minded, the unshakable. And as we close this part, let me ask you, what would your life look like if every morning began with clarity instead of chaos? Take a breath, because in part 4, Marcus prepares the mind for the world. We step into the armor of intention, the mental shield emperors used against negativity, adversity, and difficult people. This is where discipline becomes protection. Let's move forward. Part 4, the armor of intention. Most people walk into the world unprotected, not physically, but mentally. They step into the day wearing no armor, no shield, no preparation for the negativity, chaos, and unpredictability waiting outside their door. But Marcus Aurelius did not walk into the world naked. He walked in armored with intention. Take a breath with me before we begin. Inhale, strength, exhale, doubt. Good. Marcus understood an uncomfortable truth. The world will not always be kind to you, but you can always choose to remain unbroken. Every morning he rehearsed his day in advance, not to worry but to prepare. He wrote, "Today I will meet interference, ingratitude, arrogance, deceit, jealousy, and selfishness." Notice what he does here. He does not complain. He does not seek comfort. He does not fantasize about an easy day. He anticipates difficulty, and in doing so he becomes immune to it. This is the essence of the armor of intention. Let's step inside Marcus' world for a moment. Imagine him walking through the halls of the palace at dawn, servants rushing, officials waiting with scrolls of problems, generals eager to present war reports, senators whispering politics behind marble columns. But Marcus' mind is shielded. He does not expect perfection from the world. He expects humanity, flawed, emotional, unpredictable. This is his secret. Expectation shapes resilience. Reset with me. Inhale, acceptance. Exhale, resistance. Now let's bring this to you. You already know your day will contain obstacles. You will face delays. You will face difficult people. You will face frustrations you did not choose. But what hurts you is not the obstacle, it is the surprise of the obstacle. Stoicism eliminates the pain of surprise. Marcus wrote, "Choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed." In other words, what happens outside you is less powerful than what happens inside you. Let's go practical. Tomorrow morning before you leave your home, repeat this simple Stoic armor ritual. Expect difficulty. Say, "Today obstacles will appear and I will remain steady." Expect imperfection in others. Say, "People may be rude, tired, or unfair, but their behavior is not my identity." Expect plans to change. Say, "I will adapt with calm and clarity." Expect emotions to rise. Say, "I will respond, not react." This is not pessimism, this is preparation. It prevents your emotional energy from being stolen by surprise. Reset again to lock this in. Inhale calm. Exhale tension. Let me tell you a short story to illustrate. A Roman messenger once arrived late with urgent information during a military campaign. The officers were furious, but Marcus remained calm. He said, if it has already happened, anger will not fix it. If it has not happened, anger will not prevent it. That is the armor of intention. Now imagine your own life. Traffic happens, technology fails, people disappoint, plans fall apart, delays occur. These are not personal attacks. They are simply part of the human experience. The Stoic warrior walks through the day expecting difficulty, and because he expects it, he does not break when it arrives. Your mantra tomorrow morning is simple. Nothing will disturb my peace today. Say it slowly. Say it with strength. Say it with intention. Because the moment you declare it, the world loses its power over you. Now picture yourself stepping outside, shielded by clarity, protected by expectation, stronger than whatever the day brings. This is how emperors walked. This is how the disciplined walk. This is how the 1% walk. Before we move to the next part, take one final breath. Inhale intention. Exhale fear. Because part 5 is where everything transforms, where discipline stops being a habit and becomes identity, where Marcus reveals the source of unstoppable willpower, not motivation, not talent, but who you decide to be each morning. Let's continue. Part 5, identity, the source of discipline. Most people think discipline is something you do. Marcus Aurelius understood that discipline is something you are. The world says try harder, grind more, push yourself, but Marcus whispers something deeper. Become the person for whom discipline is natural. Take a breath with me. Inhale identity, exhale weakness. Good, because identity is the final most powerful layer of the Stoic morning routine. Marcus did not wake up and force himself to be disciplined. He didn't rely on motivation. He didn't rely on energy. He relied on identity, the inner compass directing every action. He asked himself one question every morning: what would a wise person do? Not what do I feel like doing? Not what do I want to do, but what would the person I wish to become choose right now? This is where transformation happens. Because when your identity changes, your behavior simply follows. Reset with me, anchor the idea, inhale the future self, exhale the old self. Marcus wrote, your mind will take the shape of what you frequently think. If you think you are weak, your actions become weak. If you think you are easily distracted, your life becomes distraction. If you think you are undisciplined, your choices will confirm it. But if you choose a new identity intentionally, deliberately, your behavior shifts automatically. Identity is destiny. Let me show you how this works. Imagine two people waking up tomorrow. Person A says, I should wake up early. I should be disciplined. Their identity is built on pressure and guilt. Person B says, I am the kind of person who wakes up early. I am disciplined. I am grounded. I am calm. This person does not try. They live their identity. Which one do you think wins? Marcus Aurelius wrote, first tell yourself who you want to be, then act accordingly. This is the Stoic formula of identity creation. So here is your practical morning ritual for identity 1. Choose your identity. Say, I am disciplined. I am steady. I am consistent. I am becoming the strongest version of myself. 2. Choose one action that proves this identity today. Maybe it's waking up without snoozing. Maybe it's doing 10 minutes of reading. Maybe it's breathing with intention. 3. Repeat it tomorrow. Identity is built through repetition, small wins that reshape who you think you are. Now breathe again, the final reset. Inhale discipline. Exhale doubt. You are no longer acting like a disciplined person. You are one. You are no longer pretending to be a Stoic. You are practicing like one. And when identity and action align, the world cannot bend you. Let's bring this full circle. The 1% do not wake up early because they love mornings. They wake up early because it is who they are. Stoics do not stay calm because life is easy. They stay calm because it is their nature. If you adopt even one of these habits, your mornings and your life will change. But if you adopt all of them, you will join the 1% who greet the world with clarity, strength, and unshakable purpose. You will wake up like Marcus Aurelius. You will rise like a Stoic. and your discipline will no longer be a choice, it will be who you are. If you're ready to build a disciplined life, not tomorrow, not someday, but now, subscribe to Making Life Better because this channel is your training ground. Like the video, share it with someone who needs strength today, and tell me in the comments, which part of Marcus' morning routine will you practice tomorrow? And for everyone who made it to the end, comment one single word to mark the beginning of your new identity. Rise. Let that word be your promise, your anchor, your declaration of discipline.